Oh, I know that sound. It's time for the Beer and News Report. Hi, and welcome to the Beer and News Report. I know, what am I doing outside without a beer? I got a story to tell you. So that's my orange tree right there, by the way. Anyways, my show first started, it was called People Talk with Beer. Now the story is I was at Create TV, I did all the courses that they give, and the last course is how to produce a show. And so I finished that course, they said, okay, what show are you producing? So I told them about the Beer and News Report, and they liked it, but they said, you should do a test show to see if you're comfortable in front of the camera. So that's where People Talk with Beer came up. I would interview people and drink a beer. It all went great, except that it's hard to find people, and especially like government officials don't want to drink a beer while talking about stuff. So it really kind of killed the show. So that's when I switched over. I did 3. And anyways, I'm at my board meeting, my community board meeting. I'm the president of that. And at the end of the board meeting, my vice president said, hey, you should go to the Beer and News Report and check out the very first show, because that's one where Art interviews me. And I had to tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, I didn't post that show because that was a test show. That was just me testing out to see if I'm comfortable in front of the camera. And so he got mad at me and he goes, I want you to post that show. So that's what this show is going to be about. Me talking with him, an interview. And just so that you know, he has one of the best rated pizzerias here in the Bay Area. It's called A Slice of New York. And it's a workers co-op, meaning that the workers are part owners of the company. It's really interesting. In fact, he's going to explain what workers co-op is. And he's doing a lot of work with the state of California to improve more businesses turning to worker co-ops. So check this out. By the way, we're drinking Hoegaarden beer, which is a Hefeweizen with a touch of coriander. It is probably one of my favorite beers. You should definitely check it out. But anyways, here's the interview. Good morning, San Jose. I know you know the reference, and after seeing that movie, I told myself if I ever have a TV or radio show or even a podcast on the premiere show, I would say that line. So guess what? This is the premiere show of People Talk with Beer. Cheers. With me today is Kirk Vartan, and this guy is amazing. I call him a superhero, super community man. He's so active out in the community, and we're going to go through that, and you're going to learn all about him and what he does. And, well, let's just start with that. Kirk, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got out here, and what you've been doing.
Well, cheers, Art.
Oh, yeah, cheers. Sorry about that, yeah.
Tasty. So first, thanks for the inaugural guest. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I grew up in New York City, in Midtown Manhattan on the east side. I grew up in the 70s and 80s when technology was just coming of age in terms of the PCs, arcade, video games, things like that. Went to school, studied philosophy. I know that was a shocker. Not quite technology-based, but technology was always a passion of mine. And I always kind of just stayed in touch with that, and I kind of turned that into profession. So I turned into computer consulting was my field, is what I did after school. I ended up working at NBC in a video area and desktop video. And when, ironically, through politics of NBC and GE, I wasn't really a fan of some of the political things that were going on there. I decided to leave. And
You rebel.
I know. When I thought about, well, where do I really want to go? Cisco was the company that spoke to me in terms of this is the kind of company I want to be a part of. And so Cisco's corporate office is in San Jose. I pitched a video idea to the CEO at the time. And within 3 months, I was packed up and I was out here. I got out here in 98 is when I moved out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I moved out in 86, but that was right before the earthquake, and that's a whole nother story there. All right, so you came out and you started working for Cisco. And I know, because I know you, that after a certain period of time, you switched and started a pizza company. But that's crazy because restaurants are really risky. What was going through your head when you were working at Cisco and you decided to switch over to pizza?
So when I first got out here, you always check out kind of where your local pizza shops are, Chinese and some local Italian food. And I never found a pizza shop that really talked to me as like a home. This is what, go grab a slice and things like that. So that was always in the back of my mind. I was at Cisco for a little over 8 years, almost 9 years. And
wait a minute, have you tried Little Caesars?
I tried a variety of different things. I will say that all pizza in general is good.
All right,
yeah.
politically correct. All right, cheers to that.
respect your competition. So when my Cisco career, I'm going to say, was coming to an end, again, ironically through kind of political issues. We'd already gone through that kind of dot-com era where there was a lot of change. Cisco had changed a little bit for me. I still love Cisco, and the company is wonderful, but it wasn't a good fit for me personally anymore.
You know, I got cut at the dot-com period. I was at Cisco too. 2001.
A lot of good people got cut, and it was a very trying time for a lot of technology companies around here. And for me, we worked through that. I did a couple different roles in there. I was in mobility and wireless and a lot of technology. I love that. I'll always be a tech guy at heart. In 2005, 2006, when I saw that my Cisco career was, I think, going to end, and I was closing that chapter of my life out, I hadn't found a pizza place that I really liked, that really resonated with me. And so I treated it kind of like a global project like I did at Cisco. I'm like, how hard can it be to do a pizza shop? Let's go do that. You know, obviously I've been a little facetious. I knew it was going to be a challenge. I knew it was going to be difficult. But the real challenge was my mom in terms of what she thought when she heard I was leaving Cisco in pursuit of a pizza shop.
Okay, wait a minute. Did you already make up the decision that you were leaving and then you told your mom, or did you go to your mom and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of told her I was leaving Cisco. So needless to say, she's not a real technology person, so I got newspaper articles from the Times, and about how frequently restaurants fail, and in the first 6 months, and everything, failure, 95% failure rate. And I'm like, thank you for the support, Mother, but can't you tell me something I don't already know? So I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I treated it like a global project with a lot of different features, you know, architecture, health department, operations, equipment, vendors, all those being subcategories that I was comfortable attacking and kind of approaching that. And I'm a technical person, so I got down to the technical elements of that. But my biggest challenge for me is I don't cook. Like, I don't know how to cook. That's not in my DNA. I didn't grow up in a family that was a big bunch of cooks. Both my parents worked. We had dinner late, and it was usually, you know, well balanced, but not you know, the way Mom used to make. My mom didn't do that. You know, there were different things that we'd have. It was always good, but it wasn't like.
My mom's best known for her TV dinners.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I go to the extreme of TV dinner, but it was in that category of ready prepared stuff or delivered or things like that. So I just don't have a DNA of cooking. I've never worked in a restaurant, I don't know how to cook. But when we started to learn about pizza, it turns out baking is science. It's all about science, it's all chemistry and science. So if you can replicate your factors where you have temperature and ingredients and you want to multiply them by 10, you will get 10 times of whatever that is. And that gave me some comfort. Like, I can do that. It's technical. It's not black magic anymore. I can do that.
Just build a spreadsheet.
Just a spreadsheet, or just, you know, you can figure it out, because if you can figure it out technically, you can make it work. So that made, you know, not to say it's that easy, but it at least gave me a place where I could go, where I could visualize that I could actually make this work. So I reached out to Benny over at Ultimate back home, my neighborhood pizza shop, and he always said to me when I first moved out here, look, you find a place, you know, I'll support you. I'm like, just come out here and just do that. And he's like, no, I'll help you out. So I took him up on his offer. He let me work with his guys, video him, get to know the recipes, and gave me kind of that foundation of comfort that I knew I had an expert in my corner that could give me the help I needed.
So he was your mentor.
He was my mentor, and he helped make it all happen remotely. I mean, he never asked for anything. He literally didn't ask for a dime. And I said, look, let me give you some kind of consulting. He's like, you know what? I just want to take care of you. Benny's awesome. Benny at Ultimate's awesome. We love Benny.
I was getting thirsty.
Yeah. Well, and locally out here, Marguerite, my wife, who has been supportive of this venture the entire time, nervous, especially at the beginning, she kept her day job, so to speak, and kept her corporate job where we met at Cisco. And she was able to kind of lead that life, and I was able to lead this life, and we were able to merge those two together. But Benny was able to support us from a recipe and support and technique perspective. Out here locally, she got me lessons with Tony Gemignani, Tony G, pizza expert out here locally out of Castro Valley, now in San Francisco.
What's his shop?
He's got Tony Pizza Napolitana is
okay.
It's opened up. It used to be Paisanos, and he's got a bunch. He's kind of a rock star in the pizza industry.
All right, good.
In the little world of pizza,
here's Tony.
Here's a Tony. Yeah, we gotta love Tony G. So Tony G gave me access to the local environment here. He had his vendors and contacts, and he gave me the ability to get comfortable with that world out here. And I still had the influence from New York to come, and I kind of merge those two.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your wife and that you met her at Cisco.
Met at
You
Cisco.
came out here solo, alone.
I knew nobody.
Okay.
The one friend I didn't know ended up moving to Hawaii.
All right.
Charlie.
Well, hey.
Thanks, Charlie.
I'm not going to cheer to Charlie.
No, forget Charlie.
So how long into the marriage were you until you told the wife the big news?
So I moved out here in '98. We met in '99, early on at Cisco, and we had already we were married when this kind of idea started percolating. Involved politically, I was involved in a very contentious Santa Clara land deal.
I know this one. I know what you're talking about. We'll get to that. We'll
very
get to
intense,
that.
very intense. And the really intense part about all that was, it was a very intense, very political, very heated Santa Clara activity, and our business is in Santa Clara. So we had to be very careful about how we did this in terms of not raising any too much awareness in the process, because we were not necessarily on really good terms with building and planning and the city staff and anybody in Santa Clara, and we had to be very careful about how we did everything in terms until we got our permits. Once we got permits, it's all good because everything's by the book, everything's above board, all that. But until then,
yeah,
Santa Clara could have made my life really challenging.
You had to walk a fine line.
Very fine.
Yeah.
Very very challenging.
All right. So that brings up the next phase. You left Cisco. You're married, and now you open up your pizza shop. Now how? It's kind of hard to say.
Well, we opened in 2006.
Okay.
We opened our second shop in 2011. That's in Sunnyvale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And now there was a sole proprietorship, right?
Sole proprietor it's called an S corp, meaning it's incorporated. So if you Inc., that's our San Jose shop. Our Sunnyvale shop was an LLC, limited liability corporation, which we opened up with our incorporated business, ourselves, and a friend of ours joined that as well. Okay. So there were two separate, same business, but two separate entities actually operated on those.
Okay. So you then decided, you can give the date later, but you decided then that I am now going to take this S Corp and I'm going to bring it to the workers. I'm going to make it a co-op for the team there.
Yeah. So corporate has always felt, you always had the ability to have employee ownership with stock and things like that. But we always wanted to do that because it was very important to us to have the ability to have stock or some way for employee ownership. But when we first started out, our attorney said, you can't do that. You have nothing. You have only debt. It's all risk. That's not how this industry works. It was a lot of doom and gloom from industry experts out there about this. So we never were able to do that. We did bonuses and equivalent of kind of profit sharing, but it was all discretionary. And when we discovered worker co-ops, we actually discovered it through, we had a group of employees that put together a business kind of incubator process, business focused on what challenges and what can you do. And
so your employees brought it to
our employees, we kind of set them off and said, look, we want to do this. Come back with ideas. And that little business team came back with the idea of a worker cooperative. Now, there are a couple versions of that. There's what they call a stock option version, but the one that we picked was an employee worker cooperative where the employees actually own the business outright and based on shares. So just like shares in a company, you have shares as an employee in this business. And everybody's equal. So if you're a worker owner in the co-op, you have the same rights as your peer worker owner. Just because you joined 3 years ago and I joined yesterday, I have the same rights as you do. One person, one vote. So the governance of the company is run by the company, run by the employees. The employees elect their board, which is the governance body of that business, and they determine the strategies, the budget, and the governance of the company, and everybody has equal shares on how those things are implemented as employees, and that's what we did internally.
Okay, so is this for just one of the places or for both places?
So we took, good question. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. We took both businesses and combined them into one organization, and we called it. We used the LLC legal framework to do this. So the limited liability corporation allowed us to use the worker cooperative model in that legal structure. So this isn't some kind of new age, touchy-feely business model. This is a legitimate business model that is built in current business language with legal entities that are accepted nationally. And in fact, the country, federally, they just passed the Worker Employee. I'm going to get this one wrong. Matt, Get to Work Act. Okay. Anyway, it's a 5-word act, but it basically they incorporate worker cooperatives into the fabric for a small business, the Small Business Association. So SBA now has worker cooperatives as a priority to help fund and create. So it's being recognized as an actual portion of the legal code and legal structure and tax structure, so that you can have worker cooperatives be recognized at the federal level as well as a local state level to operate. So it's not some kind of fringe concept that people do just in farming, which is traditionally a lot of worker cooperatives are farming. It happens across industries and across disciplines, and it scales to any level. It can scale to a 3 or 4 person operation, or it can scale to, I think the largest one is over 20,000 employees as a worker cooperative. And
that's Amway.
That's well, they're possible. There's cooperatives that we already interact with. We may not even realize, like all credit unions are cooperatives. They're financial cooperatives.
Sure.
All the REI.
That's
a consumer
right. That's
cooperative.
right. I know that.
So if you spend money at the end of the year, you get a percentage back based on how much you've spent. The same thing is with a worker cooperative. It's a little bit different. Is you have to work at the company to be a part of the co-op, and the amount of money you can get back and have rights to is how much you work at the co-op. So if you worked 40 hours and I worked 50 hours, I'd make equivalent, 20% more than you of profits because I worked 20% more than you did.
All right.
So
well,
it's a very
cheers to that.
Very democratic. It's pure democracy. It's democracy in its purest form, where you have your members that they elect a governing board, and that board represents their rights and their interests, and they produce policies, and they have a constitution that they follow. So
now, is there any way to get knocked out of the cooperative? If you're sick too much or something, or?
So there are requirements in our particular cooperative. You have to work, we call full-time, and we call full-time 25 hours a week.
Okay.
So you have to work 25 hours a week on schedule. You have to be with the company at least 12 months and 1,200 hours. So you can't work 1 day a month for 12 months and qualify. You have to work 1,200 hours and be 12 months. And we believe that if you work 25 hours a week and have been with us a year and have basically been full-time with us 25 hours a week or more for a year, that you know enough about the company that you can direct its operations effectively. You can help guide the company responsibly. And the other catch is, or not a catch, it's a hurdle. We'll call it a hurdle. The hurdle is, and we want to make it very deliberate. If you're going to join this, we want to have certain thresholds. And that threshold is a supermajority of the current members need to accept you as a member and vote you in.
Oh, that's good.
So 75% of the current members need to accept your application for membership.
Okay, as long as it's not a unanimous.
It's not unanimous. It's not consensus. There's certain things that are consensus.
But it's bigger than a quorum, right? Because you need 75%.
You need 75%. It's not just a majority. You need a 75%. And right now, that would qualify. In our case, we have 13 members.
Okay.
And you'd need 10 of those members to support you if you're going to apply for a membership.
Okay.
There's one other thing. Every member has to pay a membership fee. So similar like a gym where you pay to join, or if you were to buy something, you pay for that. It's like you're buying a share in the company. We charge $3,000. And
is that a one-time fee?
It's your membership fee. That's basically your share in the business.
Okay.
In signing the membership agreement, when you leave, you agree to sell your membership back to the company. You can't sell it to somebody else. You can't take it with you if you're not working. You can only be an owner when you're working there. So when you're a member, you are, in essence, the owner of the business with your peer owners, your members. And you have all the rights and responsibilities of an owner. As soon as you leave the company, you give up that right to be an owner. And you sell your share at the same price back to the company for $3,000.
All right, so it doesn't appreciate.
It doesn't appreciate. There's no compounding interest or anything like that.
All right.
But you get your money back we require a 2-year minimum.
But you get a cut of the profits.
And you get your portion of the profits. So
right.
if you work 10% of the business, you get 10% of the profits by right, not by discretion, by right. And anything beyond whatever typical profits there are.
Okay, help me here because thinking back to the Cisco days, the co-op now, does that provide like healthcare and all that stuff, or that's separate?
So we have one of the first things we did is we created a committee. We created a committee called the Employee Finance and Benefits Committee, and one of the first things it did was establish a PTO policy, a paid time off policy, a vacation policy. We never had that before.
Okay.
We have sick time is built into our business, but PTO is not, and now we have a PTO policy so that you can actually earn PTO. Well, there's requirements,
right?
But you don't have to be a member of the co-op. It applies to all employees of the company, and it's looking at this committee looks at different things like healthcare, because you have a pot of money and you can decide how you want to divide it up. You can give it out as cash, or you can give it out as benefits. And you can pay for those. And so now what the members do is they're exposed to all sorts of levels of operations in the business. They were always had the ability to look at it before, but now they actually understand it. They understand what a P&L is, what a balance sheet is, and what your budget looks like. And they have to approve the budget every year. And they understand where the money is going. And they look at payroll, they look at our rents, and they look at utilities, they look at all our food costs and all these other things. And they now have an appreciation or a better understanding of where the money is going. It's not just going to this guy or that guy or whatever. That doesn't exist anymore. My wife and I, we're not owners of the business outright. We don't get to decide where that money goes. We're equal just like everybody else. We're 1/13 each.
Okay. Well, we got about 5 minutes left, so I want to kind of get into the neighborhood aspect of what you do. So you're on my board at my neighborhood association. You have your own neighborhood association, which you're the president. And you work for, or not work for, but you're part of Catalyze SV, which is also under the Knights Foundation? Or
it's part of the Social Good Fund, funded by the Knight Foundation and a couple other. Chan Zuckerberg also helped finance it as well.
So how do you juggle all that? How do you do that?
I don't know.
That's why we drink, right?
Keep drinking.
All right, fair enough.
You attend city council meetings, you stay engaged. One of the things that this business has allowed me to do personally, with the support of Marguerite, is to be more engaged with the community. And it allows me to attend Santa Clara council meetings, because we're a Santa Clara business. We actually are headquartered in Santa Clara. So this is the first retail worker cooperative. There are other worker cooperatives service-oriented, but retail where you have brick and mortar businesses. We're the first retail brick and mortar business that is a co-op in Santa Clara County. So that's all, not just Santa Clara, but Santa Clara County, the entire county. And that's a interesting distinction. Interesting, it's great that we're the first, but it's really kind of a bummer we're the only one here. So we're really trying hard to work with San Jose and Santa Clara to figure out how we can bring more of these models to the businesses, because our population is aging. Right. And the baby boomers own 2/3 of most of the businesses, 2/3 of the businesses that are out here right now. When they decide to retire, They are no longer interested in owning their business or running it or whatever. This is a model to allow the employees that are there to come in and take over that business and run it. And it's not a gift. Like, we didn't give our business to our employees. It was a sale. We sold it to the cooperative. The cooperative
Right.
is an entity. It's kind of like a trust, where the trust lives and operates on its own, and members can come and go in and out of that trust. And while you're working there, you can be part of it. When you leave, then you have to leave the trust.
You had brought up way back in the beginning this whole Santa Clara thing where you're nervous because it's a big project. Now I was part of that. It was called, at the time, it was called BEREC, Bay
right.
Area
Research and Extension Center.
Research and Extension Center. And that was very contentious. I was in there.
I remember.
That was 2006, and I was running, and I remember Dominic Serta was also running, and we were, it was a mess. But anyways, you won that one. I was there when you won, and that was amazing because what they wanted to do is just put up single-family housing. And what you told them said, okay, have like half of it or a third of it single-family housing, but make the other half a building with open field, open area, or a garden.
Urban farm,
garden.
yeah. Urban farm, yeah.
Yeah, that was and you even worked with the contract. Well, you worked with one contractor. There was a number of them, but you worked with one, and they won.
Yeah, core companies actually won that, and we're really excited about the fact that finally that chapter has closed in the sense that the contract was awarded to them. They got awarded. They got their plans approved, and now it's moving forward. It should break ground next year.
Okay.
2020.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, that was a great win.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers.
And can I do a shout out to our co-op?
Yeah.
Shout out Slice of New York.
Slice of New York.
Slice of New York, wherever. Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Well, yeah, you're a little slow there, buddy, but okay. I can tell by what's remaining of my beer that we don't have much time left. So, again, I want to thank everyone for coming and watching your TV and my show, personally, People Talk with Beer. So cheers to everyone out there watching. And I hope to see you come back real soon. And again, you can go to our website at createtvsj.org, and that's also on channel 15. Hope you have a good night, and we'll see you again. Bye. So wasn't that a great interview? Isn't he a great guy? Kind of makes you feel like, hey, worker cooperatives could be a thing. Anyways, by the way, this is in March, and the rain has gone. It's a clear day. I'm outside. It's so beautiful out. It's been raining so much, it's been driving me crazy. But anyways, I hope you liked the show. If you did, click that like button. If you want to subscribe, that's great. Hit the little bell icon. It'll notify you when I post a new show. And as always, keep your beer cold and your interest hot. Take care. Bye.